Hey, it's Hannah here, and today we're looking at how you can train your horse to come away from grass and stay focused with you on grass using positive reinforcement. Now, that's no mean feat because grass is such a strong draw for our horses, and often to help with their health and their management, they are kept on restricted grazing. So then when we go out riding and things, then there's all of this lush grass around, which is even more of a draw because they don't get to eat it as much as they would like to, which is a lot. It's most of the day that they should be spending grazing. So when we're trying to train our horses very gently and asking for their cooperation and trying to give them as much choice as possible, this can be pretty tricky when you're working on grass. If you think about positive reinforcement dog trainers, you don't see them training their dogs when the ground is covered in cooked chicken, or dolphin trainers when their tanks are full of tuna. Yet that's kind of what we're asking for when we're asking our horses to work with us around or on grass. But luckily, it's absolutely possible to teach horses to stay focused with you on grass, even if they've got a history of diving for grass, tanking off for grass, although it will take a little bit longer with those horses than if you're just starting from scratch. And the key is always about setting up your horse for success and building it progressively. So we want to start off training in an arena or an area without grass where we can use the environment to help the horse understand what we're asking for and to be successful. So for example, you might begin with a hay net, asking the horse to leave the hay net and come and get a really high value reward from you. And then as the horse is able to do that happily and calmly, because there's often a bit of resistance at the beginning when you first ask them to leave the free food. So they've got to learn that that's going to be a positive experience, that they can stay with you, and to be able, there's quite a lot of impulse control involved in this, to be able to leave the free food and come with you. So we start off setting up the environment to make it successful, and like every behaviour that we teach, once they've established it at the easy levels, we can gradually make it more and more difficult, which means that we'll start to ask them to leave more enticing free food to come with us, stay focused for longer periods of duration, that kind of thing. So there are a few different elements to training on grass. One of them is teaching your horse to lift their head when you ask and come and focus with you. And we also teach a cue about when they're allowed to eat as well. So that's really important to make it clear for your horse, okay, now you can graze. Okay, and now I want you to lift your head and come with me. And the other part is really focused on the connection with your horse and ask techniques to help them stay focused, stay connected, and not just pull off and dive for the grass. So this next clip shows a pony named Raph at Hope Pastures Rescue Centre working with Barbara, who's one of the trainers there. And we were working with Raph because he had started, when people were bringing him in and out from the field, that when there was the lush ungrazed grass on the track, and he'd started pulling the rope out of people's hands, dragging people off to the grass. So we wanted to work with him to help him to begin to leave the free food, and you can see that we've set this up in an area with no grass so that we can really control the environment and help Raph to be successful. Now we're working with Raph here on a head collar and lead rope. You can do it at liberty or with the target to begin with if you like. We really wanted to use the rope because that's the cue that Raph's being led with all the time. So people are already using the rope, and we want to make sure that that's really, really, really strong, that when he feels a little feel on the rope that he's able to follow and go with people, which is absolutely great as long as you're just aware that you've got to be sensitive to your horse through the training. So if you feel like you're having to use the rope to pull your horse's head away from the food, then obviously you've got a bit of resistance, a bit of tension, and a bit of disconnect there. So you need to step back and make sure that you're away to level where it's just a bit of feel on the rope where the horse can respond. And you'll see that Barbara's really soft and gentle with the rope with Raph through this training. Now that's not to say that it will be perfect all the time. It's not. We also have wobbles, but when we're setting up the training exercises, you want to be really soft and really make sure that you're working at a level that your horse can be successful at, and that if you're pulling on the rope, that is a kind of an emergency situation and not a way that you're training. Okay, let's have a look at Raph and Barbara's training. So just stick the bucket on the floor, let him have a little look at it, and then ask him gently to come away. Good, and reward him for coming away. That's it. Nice, yeah, and then you'll just walk him back round and you'll go maybe past the bucket. Okay. So this time if you go past the bucket, he'll probably want to look at it. So get his attention beforehand now and say, can you come with me? Yeah. Super. And then throw a handful of food into the bucket for him.
So let him eat it? Or?
Yeah, let him eat it so that he knows it's in there. And then ask him to come away with you. Nice. And then you can maybe walk on and do a couple of halts and scratches and stuff like that just to let him settle. Good. Yeah, good boy. Look at his face. Good, and maybe give him some food rewards this time for staying with you. And ho, ho. Nice. Good, because you don't want it to all be focused on the bucket.
Okay.
Nice. All right, and this time throw another handful in. Good. And this time what you're going to do is as he's eating, see if he can lift his head. You can almost have a treat ready, so then you're going to give him a treat and then let him go back to the bucket. You might need a little feel on the lead rope. Good. And then let him go back to the bucket. Perfect. He's like, oh, I'm chomping. It's good to have the chaff in there, actually.
Slows it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I see how that works.
Good. And then, depending on where he is, you could ask again to lift his head. Good. And then maybe throw a little bit more into the bucket. And keep just repeating now and again, asking him to lift his head. And then back to the bucket. Because you want him to not feel anxiety about leaving the food. Good. Nice. That's perfect. Well, while he's chewing, you could ask him to take a step with you if you like, away from it. So, oh.
Heard that.
Yeah, that's all right.
I missed my window.
Yeah, it's all right. I was going to let him finish and then go around and do it again so that we're building it up really slowly.
Okay.
But then I thought, well, since he's chewing. So yeah, wait till he's finished and we'll lead him around, do another couple bits that he knows, like you did before. So this time keep asking if he's finished. Good.
Attaboy. Yeah, needs to go.
It gives him a chance to chomp as well.
Yeah, and. Okay. Boy, man.
Yeah. Oh, that was so sweet. I thought he might dive to the bucket, but he was so with you. Which again is what you want in preparation for being near grass, that he can stay with the person leading rather than... Yeah, good. And then a handful in the bucket. Good. So this time you're going to ask him to lift his head, feed him back to the bucket, and then you're going to, the second time, ask him to lift his head and step away with you. Good. So this time ask him to lift his head and feed him. Good. And then before he puts his head down, now ask him to come away with you. Good. And reward that decision. That was awesome. Really big. That was awesome. So good. So that's the really, really hard bit, is leaving the food.
All right. There's
Really
not a lot
nice.
In it, but I'll put more in next time.
That's all right. But you can see he was a bit torn, and then just straight round, back to the bucket, and I give it.
Go straight back?
Yeah. So just take him around a little circle to your left. That's it. You can come around. Super. That was good. You can see how it's going to start to build. And then you can ask him to come away with you again if you like. Yeah, fantastic.
Very nice.
That was so good. So that was Raf's first session. He did really well. The staff were able to build it from there, and with a little bit of practice, he became really easy to lead in and out from the field. Annoyingly, I don't have any footage of it, but it went really well, so you just have to trust me on that one. But you can see how the techniques begin to work to teach the horses that it's okay to leave the free food, and that staying connected and staying with you is really positive and rewarding. So that's stage 1 of the grass training. These videos continue in the CT Club, showing you how to move on to grass, teaching your horse to lift their head, how to stay connected with you and not dive down for grass when you're out, how to wait for your cue and you can invite them to graze, and of course then lift their head again afterwards. You also can learn how to do it in the saddle, so beginning with exercises like you've just seen, riding past buckets in the arena, all begun really slowly with your horse, getting them to lift their head when you ask, and stay connected so that you can easily ride in fields or ride out with your horse, and that they'll stay connected with you and ignore even the lushest grass around. So all of that's available in the CT Club, which is our online membership site where you can learn exactly how to use connection training to train your horse. We have all of these home study courses that cover everything in detail. It's got hundreds of training videos that show all the wobbly bits, and you get to see it with lots of different horses and real life situations. There's also a forum where you can get help from other members, and you can join us on your in the Q&As and ask us your questions directly. You can get a chance to have your videos reviewed by myself and Rachel. You can join in the monthly challenges. There's loads of great stuff going on. To find out more about that, head over to connectiontraining.com, where you can find out more about us, our approach, and you can find out more and sign up to the CT Club. We also have a best-selling book over on Amazon, which has loads of information in it as well, so please check that out to find out more. Thanks for watching.